Hey, welcome everybody. It is Saturday night, and guess what time it is? It is time for Saturday Night Live with Survival Preparedness for Beginners. That's me. I'm Charles, and I thank everybody for being here tonight. I really do appreciate everybody. First things first, though, everybody, please give me a number one if you can hear me just fine and everything else. I would really appreciate that so we can get going on this video. Give time for people to jump in here. I hope everybody's staying prepped and ready. And I hope you're all ready for tonight's video. All right, I see the number one's rolling in now. All right, thank you very much, everyone. So let's see here. Who is all here tonight? Emmanuel's here. How you doing, Emmanuel? Sue from Tampa Bay. Let's see who else is here. Ultra Mega is here. Brenda's here. Rockamas is here. Gina's here. Captain Pegleg. Hey, welcome. Dan is in the house. Let's see. Jan, one of my moderators, is here, and I do know that there are my other moderators are here too. Coffee First and Speak is in here, and JT is in here. It's moderator. I'd like to thank all of you for jumping in. Let's see who else is here. Leela, Kimberly's here. Dee's Craft, how you doing? Ogala, LaRonda, Trapper Bob. How you doing, Trapper Bob? Nice to see you. All right, let's see here. Brenda's in the house. Gina's here. Good evening from Maryland. Rock 'em off. So I have commercials. I know that's unfortunately, I have no control over any of the commercials that YouTube puts on, when, where, or how. It is what it is. They kind of do what they want to do. I get a lot of people that complain about commercials. I have no control over those types of situations. Let's see here. Kimberly, how are you? Regina. Michelle's in from West Virginia. Hey, welcome. Let's see who else is in here. Connie's here from Alabama. Let's see. Let me scroll down through. Oh, Pitbull's here. Nice to see you, Pitbull. Let's see. Pantra Mama from Michigan. Oh, Jill's here from Washington. Oh, we have somebody from New Mexico. Natalie, how you doing? Nice to see you. Teresa D. Kamala. Let's see here. Pat's here. 67 Valdez Steel. Good evening, all. How you doing? We got Furry Tree Weedler. How you doing there? And let's see who else is popping in here. We got more people popping on right now. We'll give this another minute or so. And Baby Doc, how you doing? Nice to see you. I've seen a lot of new faces. That's a good thing. Uh-oh. My camera just went off. All right, folks, hold on here a second. I don't know what's going on. Let me try to reset this. That's weird. I don't know why my camera just went off. Give me a second, folks. I'm still right here. I don't know why my camera went off. All right, what is going on? All right. All right. Can anybody see me or anything? I don't know. There I am. I have no idea what just happened, folks. I apologize. All of a sudden, my camera went off. Oh, you gotta love technology, right? Let's see here. Ultimate Megas from Mississippi. Teresa Smith. Good evening, Charles. Good evening, Teresa. How you doing? Let's see. Who else is in here? Ed's here. Silver Waking. How you doing? Fluffy Otter. Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. How you doing? And let's see here. All right. More people are jumping in. And all right, first things first, folks. I want to cover something really quick before we get going on this video and everything else. I really do appreciate everybody being here tonight. I'd like to welcome all the Facebook people and also all the YouTube fans for joining in tonight. I'd want to also welcome all the members and everything else that are here. And thank you for being a member. And we have another members live stream coming out tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock. All right. Now, something I want to talk to you guys about real quick is something that has been going on, and I've been getting a lot of different requests. All right. And a lot of different videos that I've been doing lately. A lot of people want to see cooking videos again, cooking with my makeshift kitchen that I have set up in the garage with my stoves and flat top and everything else. So, cooking like that, not cooking on your regular stove. So, what I want to know is, all right, if you guys are asking me to do some cooking videos in the comment section of this video, not in the live stream, but in the comment section, I want you guys to go in there and I want you all to put in what you'd like to see. What are you looking for? Those type of things. What kind of a cooking video do you want to see? Do you want to see cooking with your preps, cooking with stuff that maybe you have in your home? Do you want to see cooking with your freeze-dried foods, maybe? I just want to know what you're looking for so I can do videos that I know you out there are all looking for. Now, you can either comment in the section below of the video, or if you would like, you can send me a detailed information email of your request, and I'll take a look at that. And then I'll try to put together some of these videos because there has been a lot of people requesting this, and I want to try to do some of these videos that you people are looking for at this point in time. So I see freeze dried down here. And how do we cook if the grid goes down? Yeah, I can cover all that kind of stuff. Let's see here. Yeah, so I mean, you guys think about it. If there's something you'd like to see or anything else. All right, I see Cassie has made it in here. Hello, Cassie. Cassie, I will be giving you a video chat tomorrow at some point, probably in the AM period. And I know you wanted to discuss some things with me, so I'll be reaching out to you tomorrow morning in the AM. Let's see here. Ginger Snap is here. Okay, Cassie says it sounds good. Ginger Snap. All right, folks. So we have a lot of different things that are going on right now. And some of the things that I really want people to really think about is how to plan for the looming food crisis. Now, there is a lot that plays into what I am talking about. And tonight we're going to go into a detailed type description. Okay. how you're going to go about planning for your looming food crisis. Right now, I have a $10 a week food challenge that's going on. The third video comes out this week. All right. And then next week will be the final video, and we all get to see what we have. $10 a week will help you get started and get prepared. It is very easy to do um, with just that $10 a week. You got to remember, a food crisis can happen at any point in time due to a whole different variety of reasons, such as a natural disaster, a pandemic, uh, economic downturns. We've seen all this. The pandemic of 2020, the economic downturns of 2000, 2008, 2020. We went through them three times. Supply chain disruptions. Now, we all know about that because we went through that whole crisis when all the shipping containers and stuff weren't getting over here. They're having problems moving goods. There were shortages in the store because of the people that weren't prepared were buying up all the products and everything else because everybody assumed it was the end of the world. And if you would have just been prepared, you could have just sat back and watched the show like the rest of us preppers. And that's what I'm trying to get across here. To plan for a food crisis, it is important to take a kind of a multi-faceted, if you want to say, approach that includes both short-term and long-term. And today we're going to be covering both of those measures. All right. So, first off, we're going to talk about short term, what you can do in the short term. And there's several different steps, detailed steps that you need to do to prepare for a food crisis in a short term. All right. So, we're going to go right down to the list here. Okay. Number one is basically build a food preserve. All right. You want to keep a stock of non-perishable food items such as canned goods, dry goods, all those different types of stuff that can sustain you and your family for at least 3 to 4 weeks, depending on the situation and what your availability is to do this. Now, once you have done that, which is very important, once you get to that point, you can always keep going on your preps, but this is short term. So, number two is you want to make sure you establish local connections. And what I mean about that is, I'm not talking about a community, I'm not talking about any of those things. What I'm talking about is building relationships with local farmers, food producers, and maybe even some of the local suppliers because they may be able to help you and provide you food in case of a crisis and you run out of certain products and you need to replenish some of your goods. All right. So having those type of connections, either with a farmer or food producers or suppliers or somebody, it could be a very beneficial um, connection for you and your family in a crisis type situation, short term. Now, store water. You got to store clean drinking water in case of any type of disruption in the water supply. Keep a few cases of water on hand. Keep, you know, keep a few 2 or 3 gallons of water on hand at all times. You can buy them in the gallon jugs. You can buy, you know, the cases of water. There's several different ways that you can do this. You can buy water bricks that you can fill up and you can store those. They stack really nice. You can buy the plastic containers that I've shown you in videos and stuff before, and between 5 and 10 gallons. You can store water in those. Having water already prepared in a storage compartment is key because you don't know when all of a sudden the water is going to go off. So, you may have something like what I have, which is called a bath buddy. Um, I use that during hurricanes. I fill it up before the hurricane. They put it in your bathtub. You can fill it right up, and you've got plenty of water. The thing of it is, though, in a different types of crisis, you don't have time before maybe they flip the switch, and then you're pretty much stuck, and you need water. Without water, anything that we talk about today is null and void. You have to have some way to filter the water, and you also have to have water on hand to get you to the point of where either your water source is that you're going to get your water from, and so on and so forth. Okay. Next, in the short term, you want to make sure that you create an emergency plan. Now, I have talked about these emergency plans and how crucial it is to have these because of the severity of any given situation that could arise. Create a plan that includes steps for obtaining food, water, and other essentials in case of an emergency, and share it with your friends and family. You know, your friends and family may think that maybe you're crazy or maybe you're just, you're out there somewhere. But in all reality, when the swizzle hits the fizzle, okay, when that takes place, nobody's going to be making fun of you. They're all going to be looking for you because they know that you're prepared. So that's why it's always best to have extra on hand, because more than likely you're going to be having to help or supply food and water to other people in your immediate family. It's going to be very difficult for you to say no to someone in your immediate family if you really understand what I am saying. That is a real hard pill to swallow. And we have to make sure that, as we go along and we are preparing things, that we always consider the chances of that scenario playing out. Next, you want to make sure that you're staying informed about whatever type of situation is going on in the immediate time that you're in right then and there. You want to make sure that you are following to a point the advice from officials and authorities or experts in whatever the given situation is. Now, I'm not telling you have to do everything that either the government says or the local officials and everything else, but you need to at least heed the advice, because more than likely they're getting a little bit more information than you are. Unless you have a really good information source, more than likely they're getting more information than what you're getting. So in that fact, you have to make sure that you can take that information, process it really fast, and then turn around and make a quick, good decision for you and your family, rather whatever the situation may be, if you have to leave, if you're staying, what the situation may be. But having the way to stay informed is going to help you make those types of decisions for you and your family. Now, having a communication plan. A communication plan basically states that you can establish a way to communicate with your loved ones or your family in case of any type of a disaster, a natural disaster. It could be any type of a situation, and making sure that everybody in your family knows the plan. In your family and your household is what I'm talking about. Now, your family outside your household that maybe lives, maybe, 10 miles away, they could live 100 miles away, 1,000 miles away. You want to try to think of some way that you can communicate with them. It can be very difficult. It can be done. It also can be expensive. So Coming up with ways to make sure that you can communicate or make sure that everybody knows what your plan is in case you have to leave or where you're going to be going. And these type of things is a very, very crucial part of being prepared. Now, going down the line on what we're talking about right now. Now, I know a lot of people are sitting there and you're probably saying, well, some of this doesn't have anything to do with the looming food shortages, but this is stuff that you have to do in the short term in order to survive these type of shortages that could be coming. There's a lot of stuff that's really playing into this, and you really have to really sit back and think about what is going on. You have to have a shelter plan. And a shelter plan is in case you have to evacuate your home. So whether that be you have a tent, you have a camper, you have a cabin in the woods, you have some place to go besides your own place, and you have to be able to take your food and supplies with you. So having 72-hour kits, like I have done videos on, and I have talked about, and it's very simple for you to do on your own. It's amazing how much food you can get in there. I can guarantee you I could make that food last a lot longer than 72 hours, but that's what it's called. But having these type of plans put in place is very, very crucial in the times that we are living right now. Next, you also want to make sure that you do have a first aid kit. Make sure you have a first aid kit. It's ready. You know how to use it. I've talked about that. I don't know how many times in my videos, point blank. That's the key right there. Whatever you buy, make sure you know how to use what is inside of your first aid kit. Now, next thing you want to make sure to do is being prepared for power outages and the infrastructure failures. Now we do know, and I do have a video coming out this week about it. You do know that, there's these extremist groups or terrorists. I don't know. They don't know. The feds don't know. Local authorities don't know, but somebody is going around and destroying these power substations, and they're wreaking havoc. And until they're actually caught, as I discussed in the video, it does nothing but fuel their own fire because they feel like they're getting away with this. And the feds have nothing to go on. So you got to make sure that you have a backup plan for cooking is a big thing. Lighting, putting lights in your house or something. That's why I talk about all the different types of battery powered lights and stuff that I do have. Heat in case of, you don't have any power or anything. You got to make sure you have the heat. If you live somewhere cold, these are things that you really have to think about. And one more in this little section here I wanted to touch base on is always be aware of your surroundings and stay calm. Stay away or stay aware of any potential dangers and be prepared to respond to them relatively quickly if you can, but also try to stay calm and not to panic, because if you are, say, the leader of this said group, or if you are the leader in your home, what is going to happen is if you start to panic, they're going to start to panic. If you see what I'm saying. So if you stay calm, they're going to stay calm, and it's going to help out a lot. So we have to make sure that those are. I see Stuart's prepping's here. How you doing, Stuart? Nice to see you. We have to make sure that we are following the short-term rules and regulations and everything else. And we are doing our part in the short term to try to make sure that we are prepared for hopefully the long term. Now, where does that lead us right now? The long term gets a little bit more difficult for a lot of people. because there's a lot of people that can't do some of these different things. And it's going to be a very bad situation. I hope that I or we never have to go through anything long term. Short term, I'm thinking 90 days or less. Long term is 90 days or more. Now, once you get to that 90 days or more, things are going to start to get really interesting in the chaotic world that we are living in right now. You have to make sure that you are prepared. Now, let's talk a little bit about the long term. There are several different steps that you can do to prepare for a long term food crisis and try to make sure that you and your family can survive through these type of scenarios. First off, you want to make sure you can learn to grow your own food. Consider starting a garden or learn about urban farming so that you can grow your own food in any type of crisis, natural disaster, or anything else. You can grow a lot of different things in buckets. You can buy the small little grow bags. Yes, there's a lot of things that maybe you can't do, but say you don't even have, you have no land whatsoever. You live in an apartment, but say you have a balcony. You can grow stuff out there on your balcony. You can grow tomatoes. You probably could grow green beans. You can grow potatoes. You can grow lettuce and radishes. You can grow carrots. There's a lot of things that you can grow in those smaller containers. The thing of it is you have to know how to do it, and you have to make sure you have the supplies to do it. When the crisis hits, it's not a good time to try to figure out how to do a garden or how to grow in planters. Try it out now. So maybe something happens, you screw up, and nothing happens. But it's better to learn now than it is later. Follow what I'm saying? You want to make sure that you're investing in preservation methods. Learn about the different ways that you can preserve your food, such as canning, drying, fermentation, Mylar bags, vacuum sealed, anything that can ensure a long-term food supply that you can put up in case, well, say you have a garden and we're in a long-term crisis now. Well, now you got to try to preserve that food however you can to make it last as long as possible because, well, it's fall, we're coming into winter, you may not be able to grow outside. You might be able to grow a few things inside depending on your given situation, but you have to make sure that you understand how to do a lot of these different things to preserve your food. And I talk about, Mylar bags and vacuum sealing and dehydration. The only thing I don't do is canning. But I do a lot of the other different things. And, there's several different ways that you can preserve your food and make it last a lot longer than what it was meant to be. All right. And I would highly suggest along that line is also making sure that maybe you pick up a few books that you could fall back in. Hardcover books. Don't get, something downloaded on your phone or something like that. Buy the book. And this way here, you'll have the knowledge right there at your fingertips. Even if you don't have power, say your cell phone's been dead for months, you still have something to fall back onto, the good old paper. Excuse me. Create a few food storage plan. Now, when I talk about that, what I'm saying is considering storing long-term food supplies, such as your rice and grains and beans and dried fruits and vegetables and in a cool, dry, dark place. And you got to make sure that it's cool, dry, and dark. I mean, that's the key right there. If you're going to store stuff in your canning jars or your vacuum sealing, light is your biggest enemy besides air. Now, when you store in your Mylar bags with your oxygen absorbers for the products that you have to have an oxygen absorber, all right, the Mylar bag blocks all the light. So all you have to do is make sure it's in a cool, dry place. Now, typically speaking, even if it was a little bit moist or something, you still should be fine if you sealed your Mylar bags right, because the moisture shouldn't be able to seep through the Mylar if you're using the correct millimeter of Mylar bags. So the higher the number, the better off you are. Now, if you live in an area where you can do this next step, would make a huge uh, difference in your survival and your family's survival. And that is invest in alternative sources of food. Now, what I mean by that is, we're not talking about genetically modified crap or the other stuff that's going on out there that I got a video coming out on Monday about. That one's very interesting and very disturbing. But what I'm talking about here is, consider alternative sources of food, such as raising your own animals for meat, milk, or eggs, and possibly even keeping bees for honey. You see, if you can figure out and you can gain the knowledge before a crisis of this magnitude that we're talking about in long term hits, if maybe you have a couple of cows, maybe you have a couple of pigs, you have chickens and all this kind of stuff, there's a lot that can provide for you and your family. The question is, how long do you let it go on before you have to, if you only have a couple of cows? You see what I'm saying? So it's a big investment into these alternative food sources. So it's something you have to look into. I would say having some chickens and pigs would be a great place to start. Um, Obviously, cows and stuff, yes, are going to produce milk, and you can make your own cheese, and you can get meat from them. But in the end, if you only say have one or two cows, you're probably not going to want to kill the cow, because you're getting your milk and you're making your cheese and butter and all that from the cow. So you have to weigh your options here. So that's why I think having pigs and chickens would probably be your best bet. If you did have a cow, that would be great, but that is a huge investment, and you also have to have the land for it. You want to make sure you join or create a community food security initiative. All right. Now, this can provide a sense of security and support in case of a long-term food crisis. If you have a community that you're part of, um, and everybody is on the same mindset as you will be able to feel a lot more comfortable. You'll feel better about your family and everything else, because everybody that is more than likely around you, or that you're staying with, or they're staying with you, or whatever the situation may be, you all are on the same page, and you all have the same goal, is to survive and take care of your family. Next one is a big one, and you learn your basic cooking and food preservation skills before anything happens. And you also want to make sure that you know how to cook on the items and stuff, like what I use when I do my cooking videos. Like I said, I don't stand at my kitchen stove. These are your camping stoves that you can use for your emergency situations. You can use them for a cookout, a camping trip, whatever. All right. But to get them out, hook them up, and use them, so you know how they use and what to do and what not to do, how they work. How's the oven work? Does it run hot? Does it run a little cool? You got to figure all that kind of stuff out. And once you do, you'll be able to cook like, a chef right on your camp ovens and all these different types of goodies that you can use. So having the knowledge beforehand is a very, very great thing. Having a long-term emergency plan uh, is very crucial. A plan that includes steps for obtaining food, water, and other essentials in case of emergency. So if you are running low on food or especially water, you got to know where your water source is, and you have to make sure that's your first long-term thing that I would do personally is know where I'm going to get water from. Is it going to be a stream? Is it a river? Is it a lake? Is it a pond? Where are you going to be getting your water from? And that all falls back on you have to have a way to make sure that you can sanitize that water, filter the water, boil the water, whatever you have to do to make sure it's safe to drink. There's several different ways that you can do that. You can do it on a fire, on a stove. There's a lot of different ways. And last one, on a long term food crisis situation, is stay informed. It's just like in the short term. You want to stay informed about what the situation is and what is going on around you, and make sure that you're taking in the advice of any officials, authorities, or experts that are talking about the given situation, and then you have to be the one to make the decision on what you want to do for you and your family. That is what the most important thing is at this point in time. Now, a lot of people really sit back and they wonder about what are some of the things that they probably shouldn't do or not. And I'm not going to go into a lot of these different videos because it all depends on what the scenario is that is at hand and what you are facing. Is it just you, or you have to think about your whole family? Do you have kids? Do you have your elderly parents that live with you? Do you have these things going on that, well, you may just have to sit back and wonder, is this going to be a good idea for me and my family? Do I want to take that chance and leave like you're telling me, or do I need to stay here? Or maybe they're telling you to stay put, and what's going on around you, you don't feel so secure. At that point, then you have to ask yourself the opposite question. Am I going to be safer if I leave here and try to make it to my safe place because of the given situation that is around me right now? You see, a lot of things fall into having a plan for these looming food crises. We all know about how the prices are skyrocketing. And what is taking place is we've had all those major storms out in California that's damaged, destroyed thousands and thousands of acres of crops. Um, in Florida, we had the cold spell back in December. It destroyed a lot of the orange crop. You're going to see your orange juice prices across this country are going to skyrocket, folks. So if you like orange juice, I suggest you buy an orange tree and make your own, because the prices are going to be going up astronomically. It's been all over the news and stuff down here on how these farmers took a huge major hit. And, there's a lot of different things that are really playing into what is going on. And a lot of this stuff, I'm not so sure if it's not being, what's the word I want to use? It's not being fabricated by certain people or those type of things. I'm not getting into conspiracy theories, but sometimes you have to sit back and wonder who is responsible and what is going on. And I talk about that in the video on Monday. Now, also, we have to make sure that we are doing whatever we can do to help each other out in a timely crisis. Right now in this country, half the problem with this country is, and this is my opinion and my opinion only, is there's too much hate Nobody has anybody's back anymore. You see people, they're arguing all the time, they're fighting over the most stupidest stuff. They're killing each other over what? This, in an emergency type situation, has to end, or there'll be nobody left. At some point in time, the system has to change because we're going in the wrong direction in order to try to make sure that we are succeeding in being prepared and having a community and having a backing. Whereas in a lot of these people, if you really think about it, they're out there and they're looking out for themselves. There's a lot of that out there. They don't care about you. They don't care about your family. They don't care about your kids. They don't care about your elderly parents. All they care about is you and what either you can do for them or what they can take from you. So, in that regard, you have to be able to make sure that you can make the decision to defend what is rightfully yours and put a stop to the chaotic mess that these people can really turn around and do to your family, whether it be your kids, your loved ones, your grandparents, your parents, whoever it may be that's in your household, because they're not going to care about anything except for whatever their goal is. And more than likely, in this type of thing that we're talking about, their goal is going to be to take your food, to take your water, to take your supplies, and what's going on nowadays, dispose of you like they're trash. I'm just telling you exactly how it is. Turn on your local news. It doesn't matter where you live. You can live here in Florida, you can live in Vermont, you can live in Utah, you can live in upstate New York and Maine, you can live in Alaska. It doesn't matter. It's going on all around us, and we are the ones that what we do and how we prepare is very crucial. What our plans are. You have a short term, you have a long term. You have to make sure that in those short term, long term, you have a way to protect what is rightfully yours and your family. Period. When push comes to shove, it comes down between you and the bad guy. That's all I'm saying. And it's not like you're going to be able to pick the phone up, especially say it's a long term crisis. Something happens majorly. What happens if your phone is dead? Who are you going to call? Nobody. You can't get through. You going to send smoke signals? A pigeon? I mean, yeah, it all sounds funny and everything else, but in reality, what are you going to do? You're on your own. And I pray to God that it never comes down to that far down the pike, because I have a very sad feeling that if that scenario did play out, a lot of people would perish, because I don't think a lot of people could handle it. A lot of people um, are not prepared at all. They can't even handle a power outage now. And you want them to think about a short term, long term plan. I mean, I got people that don't even, if this power goes out, they're screwed. I mean, they have no way to charge their cell phone. They have no lights. They don't even have a flashlight. They, they don't even probably know what a flashlight is. And we all can sit here and laugh about that. But in reality, it's the truth. I mean, there's a huge thing to be said about being prepared. And you can be prepared, like I have said, for a lot of different instances and scenarios that are in your area. Like people in here from like New Mexico. Maybe you have something different than what mine are. People from Wisconsin, London, wherever you may be from, Canada. I mean, everybody has something different that they have to plan for because it's something you're going to get. At some point in time, you're going to get hit with one of these. Like here in Florida, you know, no, this year you might not get a hurricane. Next year, you might get hit by 3 or 4 of them. It's just the way the dice rolls, folks. And the key of it is you can be prepared for these things. I mean, we are fundamentally the backbone of what it means to be prepared because if you're on here and you're part of this channel, if you're part of any of these channels that are out there, and there's some good ones. Oh, there's some great ones. But right now we're talking about what you're part of. Being a prepper doesn't mean you're crazy. Being a prepper means that you can consciously think with your own mind and process the theory and any given fact that at any given moment, things can change within a heartbeat. And you want to make sure that you are prepared and you've covered your bases. You've dotted your I, you crossed your T. And what are you doing? What you are doing is you're thinking outside the box. You're not like one of these people that's walking around with blinders on, like what they put on horses, and all you see is what is right in front of you. You get the whole picture. You get the big picture. And the big picture is you have to make sure that you are all the way around. In this way here, you and your family will survive. Now, yes, there are there's a certain group of people that are out that are like, oh, well, if something bad happens, I don't want to survive. I want to be the first one to go. Well, more likely they'll get their granted wish. Because if you're not prepared at all or anything else, but only thing of it is it may not be what they're looking for, as in one of these really quick type scenarios. It could be a long, drawn out, painful scenario. See what I'm saying? Unfortunately, nobody's going anywhere until the man upstairs yanks your chain. It's the way it works. Yeah, well, at least that's what I believe. I know there's a lot of other people out there believe a lot of different things, and that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Welcome to America. But that's what I believe. When your time here is done and he pulls your chain, that's when you're going. Until then, you're going to sit here and suffer tremendously if you're not prepared, because that's just the writing is on the wall. We, as preppers, need to make sure that we are doing what we can and getting people prepared for these given situations that we all know is coming. We all know it's coming. In my video on Monday, I cover some different topics, and it's when I found this information, I was just like, oh, okay, here we go. And but you have these people, these rich people out there, Bill Gates being one of them. I mean, he's already trying to genetically engineer meat, and he's succeeded. I've done a video. Go back and look for it. I mean, he's making it work. So, these type of people and some of these big corporations, the Mars Company, Tyson Foods, and then there's a list of others. I don't remember right off the top of my head, but I talk about them in the video. These people are really making some huge changes to how we're going to be eating. And it's amazing. The people with the money are making all the different rules and regulations and everything else. And the rest of us are pretty much stuck with whatever they come up with. And you're not going to really like what they come up with. So the whole key to this is with this looming food crisis that we're going to be coming into is you got to make sure you have a short-term plan. If you missed that, go back and watch this video. Then you got to make sure you have a long-term plan. So we cover all our bases, and you got to remember, yes, I've talked about a food crisis, but there's a lot of things that are going to play into this food crisis that you have to prepare for now, because it's going to be a global crisis, and it's going to be more than just food. It's going to affect everything that you and me use on a daily basis. And for some people, the prices are already going up sky high that they can't even afford to buy even a dozen eggs anymore. I'm just telling you, folks. So if you all have anything you want to comment on, questions or anything, put it in all caps and I'll see if I can catch them all. And we're going to jump back over here because I did see some stuff go by. Let's see here. Connie said it's all part of the so-called elites plan. Yes, it is. JRC's Homestead channel. He must be on here. I see that JT posted his thing. Alan's Electric Life. Bill Gates is behind the population. I would almost have to say that I would agree. Let's hope that that doesn't come to come around, but Lord only knows. Let's see here. Oh, Johnny's here. I was wondering where Johnny was at. Sometimes I think I was the last holdout in Texas. Well, grab your guns there, Johnny, and hold your fort. All right. Let's see here. Little Lone Prepper is in the house, I take it. I'm going back how. Emmanuel says, how is the weather in Florida? Actually, it's been pretty nice. Well, today it was real cloudy. We got a front just to the north. We didn't get any rain right here, at least not yet. Night's not over yet. But I mean, Friday it was in the 80s. Thursday was 88 over towards Orlando. It was warm out, a little too warm for this time of year. We like to have our break in the here in the wintertime from the 90s and hundreds, but let's see here. I'm going back up through. Little Lone Prepper, how you doing? I think a lot of people glamorize the SHTF. They have no idea how hard it will be. I would give anything to have a couple or even one more person to be with. Yes, I mean, what you're saying is really true. I mean, people just don't comprehend what's going to take place at that given point in time, and how are they going to deal with it? Let's see here. Spartan says, I cannot stand that cannibalism. Get a group of people stranded on frozen mountains and no meat to die people and don't eat each other. Yeah, I don't think I could do that either. Now, this is a very good question. Is there anyone strategically positioned for the coming pole shift? Now, the poles have shifted throughout history. I mean, we all know that. But when it does, it's going to be very interesting. I don't really know if any of us are really prepared for what is going to take place. But, it's something we'll find out because it's already starting to take place now. Let's see here. And you're scrolling down through. All right, so Connie says, Rick in Port Alabama, the fish and sea life are all toxic to eat now. Yeah, it's starting to get that way. I mean, there's just so much junk in the ocean. I mean, all these countries have always used the ocean as a a toilet, and then that's where they just kind of throw all their trash and everything else. And yes, they have been putting stops to it, and they're trying to do what they can, but eventually Mother Nature will take back what is hers, and we'll be left standing and watching, I guess you could say. Ryan says, what should I show my folks to convince them that this is a planned attack? You must be, are you talking about what's going on with the power substations and stuff, Ryan? Um, I don't think it's just a group of kids out having a joyride and figuring that they could just shoot up a few things. You know, a couple of good old boys out there. Now, I don't believe that's what's actually taking place. Our borders have been open way too long. We do not know exactly who has come across these borders because a lot of these people either evaded and got away, or they've just been released without being vetted the proper way. I am all for people coming to this country legally. I have stated that I don't know how many times, but for the illegal people that think they can just come over here and they can do whatever they want, and they don't have to obey by our rules or anything else, I totally disagree with that. And I think that's what we're dealing with here, because you explained to me then, why is it that all of a sudden that the feds, local and state government, and nobody can figure out who the heck is doing all this kind of stuff? It's because they don't even know who they are. They don't exist in our system. That's why. I mean, come on. It's a logical theory. Think about it. I mean, here we go. People need to start talking with neighbors and creating a plan to defend our neighborhoods. Yes, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, in the neighborhood that I live in right here, I'm fortunate to have quite a few good neighbors right around me, both sides, across the street, and everything else. So I feel very blessed to have that, because I do know, I mean, even some of the guys I work with in the neighborhoods they live in, the people next door, you know, they do not want any contact with anybody. They don't talk to anybody. They don't even say hi. So I'm very fortunate. I do have a very good set of neighbors and everything else. Then if something happened, we could all rely on each other. Um, so let's see here. Yes, quail are very tasty, Johnny. I do like quail. Um, I went quail hunting a long time ago. It's been a long time since I've been quail hunting. Rick is from north central Wisconsin. Hello, Rick. How you doing? Spartan. Oh, negative. How you doing, Spartan? It's low end criminals testing the waters before professional play the game. Yeah, that could be too, but I don't know. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see if they ever can catch one of these people. Flip theory. Yeah, that could be true too. All right, let's see here. How many people are willing to take them into their homes? Well, I guess what I'm talking about that is, um stand ready. What I meant by that is like your immediate family. Now, I'm not talking about, strangers or anything else, people you don't know. Your immediate family, brothers, sisters, maybe your grandparents or parents, those type of people, where you want to make sure that you do have extra supplies in case they have to come to your area. You don't know. Maybe their area is being affected more than yours. So then you would want to bring them into your own home. So you have to have some way to, feed them, take care of them, and everything else. So that's why you'd want to have extra supplies and everything else. Um, Dana says, prayers for my mother, please. Not doing well at all. Dana, well, first off, welcome from Facebook. Secondly, everybody here on YouTube, it's on here right now. And if you're on from Facebook and everything else, maybe we all should say a prayer tonight before you go to bed for Dana's mother. I mean, it's the only right thing to do. I mean, my mom is slowly failing. My mother-in-law is slowly failing. And, it's one thing when you sit back and you have to watch some of this kind of stuff go on, it doesn't make anything easier. So maybe a few prayers from us here from Survival Preparedness Beginners maybe will give Dana maybe a little peace of mind and maybe her mother a little peace of mind. So I'm asking everybody to do that for Dana. Alan's like, sorry, Dana, praying for her. And we have Stuart and Stuart prepping, praying. Yes, thank you all so much. You guys, this is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of thing that we need to see more of. All right. It's not so much from what is going on. And it's not that I'm making an example of Dana and her mother, but the example that I'm getting to is I mentioned something, and now everybody is chiming in and they're all saying prayers, and everything else. This is what we have to get back to in this country. If we want to make this country work, if we want to get back to where people could walk down the streets and you didn't have to worry about maybe, letting your kids run down to the store to buy a popsicle. You don't have to worry about them being kidnapped or killed or shot. This is what we got to get back to. Basic humanity. Somebody is in a desperate need as far as prayers or something. So we reach out to them. And, we don't even know who this person is. But does it hurt you to pray for him? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. How many times has somebody let the door slammed in your face and you're walking out of a business, out of a store or somewhere because they got their nose in their phone or they're arguing with somebody or something like that? I mean, think about it. Really. It's the simple little things that start to add up. Am I not right, folks? If I'm right, give me a number one. It's the simple little things that start to add up and make a difference. Give me a number one if I'm right. Because you know what? Where are we going to be? I think about when my grandson starts getting older and stuff, I'm really scared with him going to school and everything else. He's not at that age yet, but I think about it. You see all this stuff that's going on. But if people would just stop for a minute and think about whatever it is that, they're doing, all it takes is one little change and it's a ripple effect. It really is. I just don't understand. I know I've run past my hour. I apologize, folks. I get on these little tangents here. And, I just worry about our country. I worry about my family. I worry about you people out there. Because there's just so much chaos and so much uncertainty and division and everything else that's going on. Everything is stacked against us. And if we don't have some way to reach out to people and just even ask for a simple prayer, what are we doing? Where are we going with society? I mean, this isn't the country and stuff that we all grew up, I'm just saying, it's not like what it was when I was a kid. You cared about your friends. If your friends got hurt or something, you're right there, you had their back. If somebody did pick a fight with your friends, you had their back. And in school, we never brought guns and that kind of stuff to school. If you had a problem with somebody, you either had a fist fight or you kind of just yelled at each other and that was it. And then the next day you're best friends again. This is how it was. Now it's like, they bring, massive armor to school and, they do the unthinkable. And it just terrifies me. I just worry about all these different things and what's going on. And I just think that we have no choice but to be prepared. If you do not see all the problems that are going on right now in this world, not just this country, this world, you don't see all the different problems that are going on. And if you do not tend to believe that what you are seeing is real, which I can understand, there's some stuff may not be, but there's a lot of stuff that is. And you can see a lot of the comments and stuff where people talk about what's going on in their in their neck of the woods and everything else. I get a lot of emails from a lot of different people from all over the world: Australia, Canada, London, Jamaica. Um, I've got a couple from Brazil. I've got um, Africa. I mean, I get them from everywhere, and people are seeing a lot of the same stuff, folks. I mean, it's a very eye opener when people are like, what you're talking about is going on here too, you know, and that reassures my whole stance on we're only being told from our regular media what they want us to know. This is how you find out information. You find out information on here. You're reading the comments and stuff. You're reading what people are talking about. I have to go back through and read it because I'm the one doing all the talking. So trying to read and talk at the same time, it just doesn't work that way. But you people are sitting there and you can listen to me and you're still scamming through all the comments and the whole 9 yards. You can see what's going on throughout the country, throughout the world. We all have a choice. We can either be good to one another and try to make a difference. We can be prepping and trying to be prepared for our families and keeping them safe in a time of crisis, because chaos is coming. This looming food crisis is just the tip of the iceberg. Gas prices are slowly starting to creep up. Have you all noticed that? Everything is going to get so expensive where most people are not going to be able to afford a lot of things. It's a sad thing to say. So you have to get prepared. You have to get prepared now. You have to do what you can for you and your family. You have to make sure that you are the one that is taking the bull by the horns, whether your other doesn't like it or not, because eventually they will thank you. I promise you, the first time there is a massive crisis and you are prepared, they will thank you. And then they will be on your side, on your team, 100%. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I'd like to thank everybody for being here tonight, everybody from Facebook, everybody from YouTube. I'd also like to thank all my moderators, Jan, JT, Coffee First and Speak, and Cassie. Thank you all for being here. I really do appreciate everything that you do for this channel. I'd like to thank all the members that are here. Once again, we are having a members live stream tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'd also like to make sure that people are very well aware that what is taking place and what is going on affects us all. Doesn't affect a few, doesn't affect just a certain class, a certain color. This has no type of restrictions to it. It's here. And if you're not prepared, it will destroy you. Because in the end, you have to make sure that you are prepared so you do not have to do things that you don't want to do to provide for your family. And that's what it comes down to. You all make sure that you do say a prayer for Dana's mother. Very important. One small gesture at a time. So until next time, folks, I'm Survival Preparedness for Beginners. My name is Charles. And I hope everybody has a great week. I will see all of you back here live next Saturday night at 8 p.m. And we do have videos coming out all week. So look for those. We have some interesting, different style videos coming out this week. Some very crucial information and disturbing information to be. Trust me. So you all stay safe. You all keep prepping. And until next Saturday night, I'll catch all of you on the flip side. Thank you again. Because without you, we wouldn't be sitting here. Good night, everybody.